Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be playing some Street Fighter 6. Now Street Fighter 6 is a game that I bought upon release and have hardly played it since because I didn't feel that it was that much of a game. So a lot of time has passed, lots of changes have been made. As Street Fighter games, that tends to happen a lot, especially in the last couple of reiterations, 5 and now 6, because they don't seem to be getting released complete, you know, ready to play. And there's a lot of changes that I've read about. So let's see if there's an actual complete game here, or rather just a game that I'm going to enjoy more than I did initially upon release. Now I'm going to go the old school guy, Ken. I'm going to use classic controls as well. I'm not down with the new ones, although I'm open to trying them at some point in the future. And yeah, we're just going to go straight with the arcade mode. All these new modes that Capcom have added to the franchise, I'm not really interested in all that sort of stuff. Build your own fighter and stuff like that. It's quite fun to watch some of the variations that have been created on YouTube, but I don't know, it's not really for me. I just want to get in, play my arcade version, complete the game, and yeah, move on. Master a character best I can, and just go from there. So let's see what Street Fighter 6 is saying. Quite a bit of time on from its initial release. I couldn't tell you exactly when it was released. It's got to be a good year ago now, at least. Now, I'll be honest, story modes aren't that important, really, are they, in fighting games? Not many people buy fighting games for the stories. However, the NetherRealm games really did change the whole scene with their Mortal Kombat storylines, most definitely, and there are other games as well, such as Injustice. They gave storylines a lot of emphasis and a lot of content, and they were quite in-depth. Now Street Fighter hasn't kept up with this at all. The effort they put in, it's there, but it just seems like a really hollow experience. And a few times that I've played through Street Fighter 6, it felt exactly the same. It was just a very hollow experience in terms of storyline. But like I said at the beginning, we don't really buy these games for that. But NetherRealm, they did up the ante, you know, they've made it a part of fighting games now. And I feel Capcom have at least tried to put something in place. But I'll be honest with you, it's nowhere near as good as what NetherRealm do. Whether or not that was Capcom's intention, I don't know, but it falls massively short. Right, so what we're going to do on today's video, we're going to try and complete Street Fighter 6. One credit, no continues, because that's how I was brought up, that's how I like to play. I've always felt that continuing is a bit, you know, it's not moral code that I grew up with. You played it in the arcade, if you lost, you came off. When it came home on the Super Nintendo, if you lost, you started again. Now, occasionally you break the code, but that's not what we're doing today. So hopefully Guile should be quite an easy first step. Ken wins, but he got them shoes from Sports Direct in the sales section. Now when we finish this game, Ken, me and you, we've got to take a trip to a better shop and get a better pair of shoes, my friend. That jacket needs changing as well. Let's clear your name. Right, I'm going to enjoy this because Luke is kind of like the flag bearer, isn't he, for Street Fighter 6. And I don't like him. I think he's a bit of a useless character. I don't know. I'm very old school and traditional in that sense. Kind of a Street Fighter gatekeeper. So I'm going to lay an absolute pounding on Luke. Yeah. Smell my dust. I've just always found him to be a quite baffling choice for Capcom to choose as their kind of mascot flag bearer for the next installment of Street Fighter. Capcom have tried many times with the Street Fighter franchise to actually get new people to be their flag bearers. Personally, I don't think it's ever worked once. It's Ken and Ryu, they are your flag bearers. Of course you can introduce new characters. You've got to. The game needs to remain fresh. But as the flag bearers, no.
Gotta do this. Come on.
I'm not gonna lose.
It's kind of like releasing a new Mario game and then putting Busby on the cover. So yeah, he's okay. He ain't gonna sell the game for you. Chun-Li, yeah. They've never really gone ahead and kind of pushed Chun-Li as a main character, have they? Like they have Ken, Ryu, and now they are with this Luke guy. And that's strange because Chun-Li, for various reasons, not just the fact that she's a good character, has remained popular since the inception of Street Fighter 2. Now, I'm sure we'll all remember she even got her own movie at one point. Anyone that's watched that film more than once, seek help. So for me, we're 3 fights in after myself not playing this game for a really long time, and as impressive as that truck looks, and it does look really nice, I'm not seeing a great deal different from what I did when I initially put this game into the PlayStation upon release date. Maybe I need to try a few other characters. I do plan on buying Terry Bogard pretty soon. I've always liked Terry. Definitely a fan of Fatal Fury, and yeah, for that reason I need to pick him up, and I'll probably do a short video showing you how I get along with him at some point. Maybe I can make a better judgment on that once I've actually played with a different character, but just for comparison purposes I thought I'd stick with Ken, as that's what I played originally with when I first picked up this game. I'm not seeing much.
Gotta do this. Come on.
Prepare.
Round 1. Fight. Hadouken! Tatsumaki! Hadouken! How's this? Hadouken!
Yeah, that was swift. Now, I'm not playing this on easy, I'm not playing it on difficult, it's on medium type mode, so it should pose some sort of challenge, although, you know, occasionally you are going to get your way.
Japan. Gotta do this. Come on. I'm number 1. Round 1.
Now, Honda's always been a bit of a tough nut. Now, granted, in Street Fighter 2, if you know what you're doing, you can easily take him out. If you get a little bit experimental, he can cause troubles if you're trying to beat him in different ways. And I'm sure it's no different on this one. Once you get in his way, just like I have there, you know, you become so vulnerable, he can just literally destroy you with his various slaps and throws and, yeah, just basically sitting on your face like that. That's humbling. I think him just sitting on my nose like that was more painful than the actual KO itself. Right, got some work to do here now. Like I said, I only plan on using one credit. I'd like the video to be a little bit longer than what we've currently got it at. We've only been going about 10 minutes. To lose that, I'd probably scrap the video. Right, back on level terms. All to play for.
That's right.
Let's play it safe for the first half of the round. See how we go and then just absolutely smash him up. No! Yep, so much for that idea. Woohoo! Good night, Edward. Kiss my Sports Direct boots.
United Kingdom. Gotta do this. Come on.
No mercy for you.
Round one. Fight.
Now, Cammy has become a real fan favourite over the years, ever since she came out in the Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition, when they brought out the extra characters such as DJ, T-Hawk, Fei Long, and I believe herself. I think that was the initial set of new characters. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, if I've misjudged that, but I do remember that being the case. She's definitely developed a very much a cult following. Now, a lot of that, I think we can understand why. But we won't say that on here.
USA.
Now, this is going to be embarrassing. I've actually not worked out how to parry on this, so I'm going to miss everything. Just, ouch. Oh, God. All right, there's two. Definitely something I've never really used when playing Street Fighter is the parry option. Never decided to master it. Always worked out playing it in the way that I've felt comfortable playing. So never really bothered with a parry. Something I should definitely use. It would have helped me a lot over the years in Street Fighter 3. Right, Kimberly, one of the newest characters, I believe, and is very, very colourful. Love everything visually about this character, especially the combos and the finishes that you see with Kimberly. Definitely a welcome addition to the series. Go! That was a pretty close call. If I'd have missed that by just an inch or a second or two, then I would have been open, and I think Kimberly would have finished me off there. Now, I'm not sure what happened to Blanca's mouth, but he looks like he's having a good night out. That's all I'll say. Now, we're quite far into the arcade version of Street Fighter 6. Only a couple more fights, I believe, left until we get to the boss, or even a couple of fights left, including the boss fight. And any changes that have been made to this game, in my opinion, they are really, really minor since I last played this, because I'm not noticing much, if anything at all, since the last time I played this. And that's what kind of put me off. It just didn't feel like it was much of a game, and the new aspects of it, which admittedly are still there and I'm sure they've been improved on, like the creative fighter and all that sort of stuff. But it's like I alluded to earlier in the video, I'm really not the target audience for that. So I'm guessing that that's kind of to bring in a new audience for the franchise, which is fine. I totally understand it, but it's not really for me. I did try it ever so briefly, and yeah, I just didn't like the characters that I came up with and what other people were coming up with. They just looked cheap. It was kind of like the equivalent of all of them really average to bad Street Fighter 2 rip-offs that we got in the early 90s. It was like, here's your own version of that within a new game. Go ahead, crack on and make your own version. So yeah, the changes, if there's any, they're quite subtle from what I remember playing it the first time around once I originally purchased this game. Nothing really to bring me back and get me into this game online. I did try it online as well, and yeah, it was fine. It was a bit of a mess when it came to its original release form, in terms of matchmaking, in terms of lag and stuff like that. But I'm sure they've been improved on. That's one thing that I know Capcom worked very hard on. It shouldn't be like that. It should be ready day one. But that's the world we live in now. I mean, it's still fun, and Ken is my go-to character. Always has been, always will be. I prefer the wild berserk side of Ken over Ryu. But when I'm playing with Ken here, it feels a lot more clunky than, say, playing Street Fighter 4 or Street Fighter 5 even. I really enjoyed using Ken in the way he was presented in both of those games. And whilst I'm enjoying using Ken in this version, I don't know, it feels a little bit slower, a little bit more tactful than what I'm used to with Ken. Ken was always that raging nut job compared to Ryu, and yeah, it doesn't feel like it's natural when you play with Ken here. I mean, feel free to tell me I'm talking complete nonsense in the comments. I'm sure someone will, but I'm only saying it how I see it.
Well, well, if it isn't the former national champion. Fighting still makes you feel alive, does it not? How truly splendid. What say you, Ken? Why not forget all about what happened in my
What
shop
say you, Ken?
and
Is that
become
some sort of inside joke?
to see if combat once more?
So look, JP, first of all, got one of the worst names for a boss fight I've ever seen. Yeah, makes Seth look like an absolute beast in terms of names. You know, you shiver at the sight of the name Seth compared to JP. Now we go back to the storytelling aspect. Like I said, what's going on? I mean, you've got the idea that Ken's a bit of a wanted man, which is why he's walking around in Sports Direct Soviet hiking boots. And he's also got that terrible coat on. But who is this guy? What is his history? Why is he talking to Ken like that? How did you end up getting to him? And what is your purpose of fighting him? I mean, from the brief arcade mode here, there's nothing telling you anything. What are they doing? Trying to keep you hanging? I mean, I don't mind it. I love a good cliffhanger. But I'm not hanging on no cliff if I don't know where the cliff is or what it's about. And admittedly, that was fairly easy. I remember the first time I played Seth in Street Fighter 4. Now, there's a way to beat Seth, and you know, Street Fighter players pretty much know how to beat Seth. But the first time I played him, that guy absolutely beat the living daylights out of me. When he used to pick you up, get you in that little whirlwind, and get you in his stomach and just throw you out. That was horrid, and it was, you know, demoralizing. You don't get that with the last boss on Street Fighter 5, in all honesty. And again, this time around, it's probably worse in Street Fighter 6. I mean, look how that story just ended. It gave you absolutely nothing. And this is where I'm going to have to say that NetherRealm have just absolutely smashed it out of the park, even with their most recent release in Mortal Kombat 1, which has received its fair share of criticism, and rightly so in many ways. The story aspect is still concentrated on massively. And although, like I say, we don't buy these games for the story, we're at a stage now with fighting games that I think that having a story like Street Fighter and Capcom present to us with each character being so bare bones is pretty much unacceptable. Now, before I make final judgment on the Street Fighter game, I am going to play it some more online. I'm going to do a couple of live streams actually on the channel at some point, so keep an eye out for that. You can watch me get beat up by other people in other countries. So yeah, that should be fun. But that'll give me a better idea of how much future this game and I have personally got going forward. It's the same with the DLC. I'm not a fan of DLC. I don't like what it stands for. But I will buy it on occasion. And I get it with fighting games to an extent. And now that Terry Bogard is out on the system, is one I'm going to be downloading because I'm a fan of Terry. I'd like to see how that plays out. And yeah, I'm curious to see what kind of storyline they give him. My expectations clearly not going to be high. As I've mentioned previously, as the last lot of stories that we've seen here, not very good. So I don't expect him to go all out with an SNK character. Be very interesting to see how that is though. And Ken and Terry Bogard will be the characters that I probably use when I'm going to be live streaming Street Fighter 6 in the near future. So what do I think of Street Fighter 6? It's a good game, don't get me wrong. One of the better fighting games in recent years. But something's lacking. It feels a bit slow, a bit clunky to me. And I don't know. It's not better than Street Fighter 4, that's for sure. And I don't even think it's better than Street Fighter 5, which had its fair share of problems, especially upon release. I'll never forget the disappointment in playing Street Fighter 5 for the first time. I think I bought it the week it came out. Took an absolute age to download as well. And then when it downloaded, there was nothing. You hardly had any characters. There was no arcade mode. Okay, Capcom have learnt this time around from that mistake and they've given you the modes straight away from what I can see. But it's all very, very bare bones. And I'm guessing that this game is made for the online community more so than anything. With that in mind, as I'm not a strong and a keen online player, I don't think it is targeted at myself, but I'm sure there's people out there that do really enjoy this game. I've seen a lot of negative press about this game, even up to the current day. So yeah, I still think Capcom have got a lot of work, and they are at a real crossroads when it comes to the whole Street Fighter franchise. Before they come out with a Street Fighter 7, personally I would like to see them go back, reset everything and just give us some sort of Street Fighter Alpha or Third Strike type game with all these new characters plus the old ones, just as a kind of standalone game, just to keep everyone ticking over until they can figure out what they need to do with this franchise to keep it going. Because although it's got the name recognition, and it always will have, there's definitely better fighters out there that have surpassed Street Fighter at this stage. And I find that very difficult to say as a huge old school Street Fighter fan. With that in mind, guys, I thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts on the video. Let me know your thoughts on my thoughts. And remember, they are just my individual thoughts. They don't represent yourselves. But I would love to hear what you guys have got to say about this game in particular. Thanks for watching again, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.